at some point we are going to have to do a whole show about how good this show sounds.
Hey everybody, welcome to Downballot. We do this most Tuesday evenings at 7:30 p.m. Pacific right here on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/Echoplex Media. And make sure you check out the channel almost every night, and especially Tuesday mornings, because Media Wench does the Shasta County Board of Supervisors live and unpausable. And I heard that some shit went down today. They tried to make their county a charter county, and if wouldn't you know it, as is often the case with dumb fucks that we cover on this channel, didn't fill out the paperwork correctly, and so all the work they did on it seems to be for naught. Anyway, other things going on around here. We got a new podcast the councilman's been on once, and it's going to be on the next one. It's Used to Be a Spy, a Burn Notice rewatch podcast. Now, if you want to throw money at all of this nonsense, please go to echoplexmedia.com. Click the support link at the top of the website, and you can make your own decisions from there. I think you should buy a hat. I'm producer Dave. You can find me at Plex-Dave on the Blue Sky.
What's up, everybody? With you as always, producer Dave. It's the Councilman. You can find me on the Blue Sky thing at PJ Allen 2. That's TWO, PJ Allen 2. You can also find me trying to fix this sty in my eye. Got no idea where this came from, but it's going to be a very interesting show if I can't read the docket. But producer Dave, I'll give you a fair warning. If my eye does seal up, I still have one good one, so I should be good to go.
Like me when I was drunk and I tried to read the screen, I was all like, I'd make like a telescope out of my eye, out of my hand, like it would help me see the fucking screen. Back in the old Local Love, back in the how many beers has Dave had days of Local Love.
Oh man, I remember that game. Wish you could bring that back. But I thought at first it was just so the bad baby is kind of a violent baby, and she'll just go to town and waylay on us. She gave me a black eye a couple weeks ago, and I had forgotten about it until I saw it in the mirror anyway. So I figured this was something like that, but God knows what it is. We'll figure it out later, just as long as it's not pink eye.
Oh man.
Anyway, lovely start to this show. Hey everyone, welcome back after 2 weeks. Pink eye.
We should like at a dinner party, what you should always talk about is either your ride to the dinner party, how you got, of course, a funny thing happened on the way to the party, and your medical issues. It's a great way to make friends at a dinner party.
All your pus-filled eyelid issues. That's definitely the topic of conversation when you're having fettuccine Alfredo. Anyway.
Oh man. I made homemade fettuccine Alfredo the other day. It was so good.
Did it work? It worked out?
Yeah. I used my mom's Alfredo sauce recipe. So
nice. Do you throw some cheese into the sauce or just on top of everything?
Oh, cheese goes in and then on top.
Oh, very nice.
Both.
Very nice.
Both. What do you mean? What do you mean or?
Oh yeah, of course. It's always and with cheese. Always and. Anyway, shall we dive in?
Yeah, it looks like we have a little bit of a shorter one this week, which is good because we've been doing these marathon shows. Speaking of marathon shows, the podcast of the Plex went 2.5 hours.
Whoa!
On
Slamming.
Sunday. Remember when the whole show, including red light, was like sometimes 2 hours?
Correct. Yeah, so that's pretty impressive. And so imagine there was a lot of dirt going on out there in the world. I mean, there is. There's just so much. I don't know how you can squeeze it into 2.5 hours. It seems like every minute, right? It's just a fire hose of derp. So kudos to you to keeping it to 2.5 hours.
Well, I didn't cover every moment of the news. My God.
Did you get into the RFK Bernie Sanders tete-a-tete?
Yeah.
That was hot. I figured that's enough for a whole episode, honestly. It was beautiful.
The fun one was the Bill Cassidy one where it was like, dude, you could have stopped this, actually. You were the one who could have prevented this whole shit from getting out of committee, but then he did the fucking razzle-dazzle on you, and you're like, oh, I guess I believe him. You dumb fuck.
Right.
Anyway.
Anyway.
Speaking of dumb fucks, what do we got for our first story here?
Well, closer to home, as we do here on Downballot. Mentioned this on our last app, or at least maybe in the chat at some point, but I'm glad I finally made video. So Mayor Ed209 has some very interesting takes on Gavin Newsom's latest forays into social media. And so he decided he was going to call him out on him, and we're going to hear about that in this piece from the local news. And I'm forgetting which outlet this is, but we'll just go with it.
This is ABC.
ABC. There you go. I got the docket right in front of me. There we are. ABC.
Governor Gavin Newsom is drawing a lot of attention online and in political circles for some recent posts from his press office, mimicking a social media style similar to President Donald Trump. It's a shift in approach to dealing with Trump politically. San Jose Mayor Matt Mahan, a fellow Democrat like Newsom, would like to see less online attacks and more action in the real world.
We've got fundamental issues that are challenging our residents every day, and we'd be doing better if Sacramento was doing more. And I want to make very clear that we cannot confuse internet rhetoric with real world results.
On Saturday, Mahan published an op-ed with the San Francisco Standard called "How About Less Time Breaking the Internet and More Time Fixing California?"
We have the highest unemployment rate in the country, nearly half of the nation's unsheltered homeless population. We have the most expensive housing and most expensive energy.
In one example, Newsom's team sarcastically responded to the new CEO of Bed Bath & Beyond. The company is reopening stores across the nation, except for California. Newsom's office wished them well on becoming relevant again.
I think we have to listen when people offer very valid criticisms of our business climate in this case, and not try to brush it away, but say, look, here are the concrete things we're going to do differently. And that was part of the primary point of the op-ed.
Mahan said when it comes to public safety, more should be done to implement Proposition 36, the tough on crime ballot measure.
Right now, we have made our streets the waiting rooms, the waiting room for mental health hospitals and drug treatment centers that hardly exist. So it is time to get serious about this issue.
Mahan said his op-ed wasn't about the governor per se. It's about Sacramento broadly.
We need help at the local level. I want to give voice to that.
We reached out to the governor's office for a response to Mayor Mahan's op-ed and are waiting to hear back.
Oh man, he should have done a fucking response in like all caps, calling him mayor, like, I don't know, a fucking musty Mahan or some shit, dude.
Mopey Matt. There's so many levels on which I find this completely hypocritical on the part of our esteemed mayor here in San Jose, or not esteemed, if you will. But just, first and foremost, you're talking about the governor, or complaining that the governor is wasting time with social media when he should be working, right, and solving things. Well, what are you doing writing an op-ed criticizing the governor, right, and getting it posted in the San Francisco Standard, right, a nonprofit outlet up the way from us here, not even in your own hometown. What are you doing? What are you doing, bro?
Right,
wasting time.
It was about, like, it doesn't make sense. San Francisco, some people might be like, oh, it's a shot across his bow because he used to be the mayor of San Francisco.
Sure.
But I think like he probably shopped it around, and I think the Merc didn't want it. The Chronicle probably didn't want it. He probably shopped it to the Sacramento Bee, which would be the appropriate place, actually.
Sure.
For such an op-ed.
And Spotlight in his hometown won't publish his stuff because they have a little tete-a-tete going right now anyway. So
good for them. I mean, like, I was super skeptical of Spotlight because I was kind of like, not happy at all that instead of like trying to invest in the existing, like the Metro and the existing legacy structure there, that they propped up their new thing. But if they don't get along with Matt Mahan, fucking cool. Like, yeah,
for sure. And on top of that, so he's the subject matter, right, and the whole angle that he's taking is that you instead of being a social media influencer, you should be a leader. Well, I'm pretty sure on this very show a few weeks back, or maybe a month ago, when Steve Aoki came to do a DJ show in San Jose, we had video of the mayor getting caked, right? And he pushed that out on all of his socials and made a big effing deal about it, how it was so much fun in San Jose, so hot, and he's spending all this time. He spends all his time up in social media. He's got a communications team that's bigger than the team in his office that works on housing issues. So I think the mayor is absolutely the pot, and he has met the kettle, and they are calling each other a color of some sort, what kettles are. Not all kettles are black, so I don't want to be racist, but you get my point, right? It's just the level of hypocrisy. It's not surprising anymore. He says one thing out of one side of his mouth. He does one thing with the other side of his body, and he's absolutely invested in in whatever company makes those crisp white button-up shirts, because he seems to go to bed in them. I think he might shower in them. We'd have to ask his wife. But anyway,
they don't shower together. It ain't hot like that.
No. I mean, he showers on his own.
Showering together. First of all, if they showered together, the water would be lukewarm anyway.
Well, at least he would at least she would see it. You'd think, she'd know. But anyway, regardless, he's invested in loafers and blue socks and blue slacks and white button-up shirts. That's his just standard operating procedure. He wears that everywhere. He wears it to creek cleanups, producer Dave. He posted on his social media, he posted pictures of himself smiling and happy and picking up trash with one of those little clipper things in, button-down shirt and slacks and loafers right next to it, directly adjacent to a volunteer who's wearing jeans and a ratty old t-shirt and a reflective vest.
Well, he was standing directly next to a person that was going to continue working when the camera stopped rolling.
Correct.
Well, so
the person who was there to do the cleanup, not the person who was there for the performative photo op.
But he does make a good point about the business climate. You know what I thought the other day is that, what would bring back California's economy? Bed Bath & Beyond.
That's the thing right there, right? I mean, that's what we've been missing. It's the missing piece in this entire economic picture. It's not small businesses
it's not like high-end retail like a Tiffany, but it's not like middle of the road, which is Kohl's. It's it exists somewhere in that in between, and that shit got mowed down before the pandemic.
Yes, very much so. And it's not, that stuff's not coming back in a big way. And yeah, if Gavin's made a point. He's made it very clear that, You got to fight fire with fire, and that's his attitude, right? So you fight the social media fire with social media fire. You fight this redistricting effort with another redistricting effort of your own. And that's Gavin's MO, whether you agree with it or not. That's absolutely where he's laying down the law. And at the end of the day, the governor, the mayor in San Jose has a little more work to do than the governor, because simply they're just another council member, so they have to vote and be deliberative and push people around and get those 6 votes or the 5 other votes. The governor, yes, they have to whip votes. They have to get things moving through the legislature. But at the end of the day, they're much more of there's much more ceremony to their role than a mayor or a lower, a more executive in another lower office. So part of Gavin's job is to do this. Part of the governor's job is to do this kind of thing, to put California in the map, to be California's message voice box, squawk box. So what it just, again, irks me is that our mayor spends so much time in this space, and he's the one out there criticizing others for being in the space, when, like I said, he is devoting more resources in his office to communications and marketing himself for whatever comes next. We all know. At the same time, and not spending more money on that than on these issues where he says, or that he says are more important and more critical, and he thinks the state needs to step up, like housing, right? So it's just layering the bullshit.
If we take a step back, maybe they say the 30,000 foot view, where the chemtrails are. Right.
40.
Right. This motherfucker ran on, I am the one who can clean this shit up. I'm the one who can clean up this city, which is a stupid thing to run on, because San Jose was once again just named the safest big city in the United States for the fucking, like it got its crown taken away from it by fucking Fremont or something before. Right?
Yeah. It's so it's enough.
So like, what was he was running on? I'm going to fix the homeless problem. And then he gets into office and he's like, the county and the state need to do more.
Right. No,
but that's really, not what he didn't run it for office saying, I need help from the county and the state. Here's what I need from the county and the state. And once I get the help, he was saying, I can do this because I'm businessman.
Correct. We need common sense, right? We need common sense. And what do we hear from Donald Trump all week and lately, right? This is common sense, what we're talking about. We're going to war in Chicago because it's common sense. We got to clean up our streets. That was exactly what he ran on. Common sense, getting things done. No one knows how to do anything. I know how to do things, run things at the speed of business. You're right. And then as soon as he got in, it's like, whoa, this shit's hard and you guys aren't helping. So it's all y'all fault, because we're just stuck because we can't do anything because the county's not doing enough and the state's not doing enough and we can only do so much. It's like, fuck you, bullshit. You call bullshit. You're absolutely right to call bullshit on this, producer Dave. This
guy also is like he's like a in a way like a bad version of Aaron Peskin, where we used to make fun of Aaron Peskin because there was never a place where there was a camera where he wouldn't be. But at least Aaron Peskin was like kind of like directionally wanting to go the right way with policy, and was like realistic about like not being able to fix things right away, and that we need to that there were I think he called some of San Francisco's problems insurmountable or seemingly insurmountable in one of the things we watched. Whereas Matt Mahan's like, oh, I'm going to fix this. Where's the camera? I'm going to fix this. Fucking Daniel Lurie is out there fucking getting every photo op and interview he can get and doing all these public-private partnerships. And, just contrast it with fucking Barbara Lee, who ran for office, and then fucking she ain't done shit in front of the camera. I think she got there and like got to work as far as I can tell. Doing shit. Because she hasn't shown up on our docket. I watch the local news a few nights a week. I haven't seen shit about Barbara Lee, and I think she's working. I think it's
she's getting it done.
She's at work.
Totally, she's getting it done. And the only time I've seen her on TV is responding to Trump's madness about saying we need to send the National Guard in to clean up Oakland. I will point out that speaking of hunting for cameras, Willie Brown will make an appearance on Down Ballot tonight. Just FYI, nice. So stay tuned for that.
Dude, back in the day when they used to have home base, it was at the old Oakland International Trade Center. There's no place like home base because it fit like 50,000 fucking ravers. Willie Brown was like not on the stage getting caked. We looked over and Willie Brown was like cutting a rug at 3 a.m. right next to us at a fucking rave. Right. Like, so, right. I mean, I don't know. There were no cameras there. That was pretty cool. Willie Brown. And
gotta be nice.
Now he's real old, but he was getting up in the years there, and he was doing the little toe wiggle, he was cutting a rug. He was doing pretty good. His hips didn't move like they used to, but
no, definitely not. That's good to hear though. That's good to hear. Did you know, have we talked about on Down Ballot, not to get off on a sidetrack, but that he used to date Kamala Harris? way back in the day.
No, I didn't know that, but I mean, I knew that because people used to say she was sleeping her way to the top.
Yeah, way back in the day, I think it was somewhat scandalous, but not super. But yeah, San Francisco politicians sleeping around, but and a little May December action there, or actually more like April December, or April and the next year possibly. Anyway, so we'll definitely follow the ongoing saga of Mayor Ed 209's climb to the bottom, and potentially out of San Jose. Honestly, I would almost prefer he get elected governor so he can get out of my face down here and we can actually get things done in San Jose.
I hope he's the next president. Fuck it.
Why not, right? It couldn't be much worse. But we should probably move on because we got a few more stories to get to tonight. So shall we move on to the winners and the losers?
Yeah, what happens in winners and losers?
I mean, typically everyone loses, and even the people you want, especially the people you want to win. So,
right.
So that's usually what I'm. And in the next story, I don't know who the losers are yet, but yet to be seen. I just don't know. There's probably not many winners.
Big sporting events coming to your town, like big international sporting events coming to your town. Everybody loses except for the people that get to leave your town after the sporting event.
Right. And that's what this story is all about. Although it's actually about San Jose trying to take advantage of the sporting events not coming to their town.
Oh, good for them.
Or at least leveraging the events that are adjacent to their town, and we're going to find out more about that and Ed 209's role in it right here from NBC Bay Area.
Ready to really rumble this time. San Jose says it has learned its lesson and is now better prepared to benefit from the massive sporting events coming to the Bay Area, especially to the South Bay. We're talking the Super Bowl, the World Cup. Our business and tech reporter Scott Budman spoke to South Bay leaders today about how to ensure that the South Bay sees all the benefits from the very good business of sports.
Yeah, Jessica, that is the goal. In 2026, San Jose will repeatedly be the center of the sports universe, talking NC2A basketball regionals, World Cup rounds, and Super Bowl 60 being played just up the road in Santa Clara. Today, San Jose showed us how it plans to benefit from all those games and all those fans.
Oh, come on, San Jose. How are we doing? All right.
San Jose.
Fucking the guillotine for everybody who clapped for this asshole.
Speaking of, working for the city.
Please clap.
His city will use to identify a gigantic business opportunity. The return of the Super Bowl to the South Bay, March Madness, and the World Cup, all in 2026. And this time around, Mahan says San Jose wants to make sure San Francisco doesn't get all the glory.
But what we know is from the last Super Bowl, if we don't go proactively plan a fan experience, bring in talent, put on concerts, and have a little more control over our own destiny, the gravitational pull is north to San Francisco.
To that end, San Jose unveiled a new website to fans.
Oh, that's going to get him. Oh, my God. Look at those colors. Stop
With
it.
Steve Aoki in the header, by the way.
And 13 concerts planned for sports fans.
The economic opportunities for our businesses in the downtown core and across the city are expected to drive growth while strengthening San Jose's overall economic vitality for years to come.
Planners say it's $1 billion opportunity for the Bay, with hundreds of thousands of visitors expected.
For us, it's not about the game, it's what can we do around the game so people experience why we live here, right? Why we love Silicon Valley and San Jose.
Meanwhile, as for the cost, Santa Clara itself says hosting the Super Bowl at Levi Stadium will cost that city just north of $6 million. City leaders and the Bay Area Host Committee tell us they're working together to come up with that funding. Janelle?
Thank you so much, Scott.
This is going to be a shit show, dude. Fucking,
Yes.
like, what do they mean they're going to have concerts? Where?
Yep. It is a shit show. It's a shit show that's an exclusive shit show, really, where the city is contracting, working with, offering big subsidies to local developers, big business, the Sharks, the Sports Authority, a lot of the big players in our local, whatever, entertainment economy, you want to call it, to throw these parties on their, vacant parking lots and spaces that they have access to. And the city will shut down streets too for them because these guys are all funneling money into their political coffers, and they're the ones building the big buildings and ostensibly building the huge developments and bringing all this quote unquote economic vitality to the region. But really, they're just millionaires trying to become billionaires. And there's been really no engagement at all in this process in terms of like putting together concerts or this iconography that they're using around like the wayfinding and introducing San Jose through whatever graphic design. There's been really no outreach at all or engagement with local businesses, local artists, local creatives, local entertainers. It's going to be a bunch of these national headlining acts coming to town, to draw people who, like you said, are going to be gone the minute the games are gone. And what's left, right, for the people of San Jose? What's left for us? It's not going to have the effect that they think it is, or they're talking about it having. It's going to look good in these press conferences, but they really have no plan. They really have no coherent plan or strategy for how to truly engage the local community with the folks who are coming to town, but also with itself, right? Like they're spending so much time worrying about the people that are coming to town for these games, and they're really not thinking anything about what comes after or how do we get San Jose or the South Bay more engaged in our own economy, in our own culture, because as we've talked about on this show many times, right, there's the doom loop kind of vibe out there, right, where people don't want to come downtown because they think it's dirty, and all the mayor talks about is how dirty it is and how many people are unhoused, right, and mentally ill and running around the street.
The fucked up part about that is the people who moved to sorry to cut you off there.
No, it's fine.
The fucked up part about that is the people who maybe live in San Jose and don't mind what other people would call dirty, which I just like call a fucking downtown. There ain't nothing for them to do there. Like, right. Good luck getting something to eat after fucking 9:00.
Yeah, and they've created that. Mayor wants to talk about the business climate we've created. That's the business climate we've created. The business climate we've created is one where, Dave, I don't know how, I forget, I don't know if you were here around the time when, J-Town Pizza opened in Japantown and Spread, a new sandwich spot, and then Jack's Bar. They're all owned by the same small business person family, and they're getting.
Oh, I know the Spread guys. They used to run Liquid Bread. They're like not friends of mine, but I would know them to say hi.
Yeah. So because of just some bullshit business and city regulations, they're in debt up to their eyeballs and having to close down these local businesses because of it. So we've created a horrible business environment here. No matter what he wants to talk about, and none of this is going to help because those businesses aren't there anymore, right? And if there's nothing there, if there's no there, then all it is like the Steve Aoki caking, concert, and there really is no impact to the local community because those folks were going to come and spend their money anyway here in some form or another, and it's already projected in the hotel taxes and the tax revenue situation for next year. It's all been fleshed out already. So it's not as though any of this work that they're doing now with like 3 or 4 months left to go is really going to move the needle and draw a whole bunch of these people to San Jose away from San Francisco or wherever else. If people want to go up to San Francisco and they have it in their mind that they're going to San Francisco to see these games, they're going to figure out a way to get there even if it's 45 miles away, and they're not necessarily going to come on the light rail down to downtown San Jose to see the show. But they'll do well and it'll look good, and again, they're getting private industry to pretty much put up all the money and the logistics. So they don't. So it's really low. It's low risk for city officials and for the mayor to put this together. But
how far is the stadium from Caltrain?
That's a good question. It's right on light rail, so the light rail stops at the stadium. Caltrain is a little bit more of a
right. But it would be light rail to Mountain View to Caltrain.
Yeah,
light
rail to Mountain View or light rail from to downtown San Jose if you're going south, right? But yeah, light rail to Mountain View would be you take the Tasman. The Tasman line goes right up to Mountain View, right? So that would be the way that folks are getting there. So if someone's staying in San Francisco, like they're in for a rude awakening in terms of how to get to the stadium. The Uber is going to cost quite a bit, right? So it would make sense, right? It does make sense for San Jose to be more of a hub because Santa Clara doesn't have much of a downtown or anything going on outside of that stadium. So it does make a lot of sense. I just don't trust, nor do I think San Jose.
What are they going to do? They're going to you can't when you have an event like this, right? San Jose does this thing where they want to throw one big fucking party. And they don't really want the party to overflow into the next weekend at the nightclubs, the bars, maybe have an art fair the following weekend to sort of, kind of pick up on the energy from the weekend before, right? They don't do that stuff. It's like, it's like they do like, we're going to have a story in a minute, actually. Our next story, and this might be a good way to lead into Viva Calle, right?
Yeah,
they do a Viva Calle, but the problem is like the kind of people who want to go to Viva Calle are it's going to be families with kids and people who like to ride their bikes and stuff. But there's also going to be a lot of people there who might want to go out, and their Viva Calle isn't near any fucking nightclubs. And so, because there aren't any fucking nightclubs, and so you don't have like on the corner where there's a big nightclub, a stage from the nightclub with like DJs or bands or whatever. You know, it's the only thing like that is the bike party booth, really.
Yeah, and it's not at night, really. It's a date. It's a
right.
dayside event.
But I'm saying
like
the kinds of people that go to that might be inclined to go out at night, and if there were like nightclubs along the route or whatever, the nightclubs could do promotion. Or for example, like if there were, like if Sofa District was like it was in 2000, San Jose would clean the fuck up. The Edge was there. Fucking what was there? Fucking the one that's now the one that's now
the Cactus Club.
That's now Pierre's spot. We used to play there a lot. There was South First Billiards for if you wanted something a little chiller. Like there was all that fucking stuff there, and that made that a destination where people would, after the Super Bowl, it would be a viable option. But outside of like one big fucking party where the line's going to be really long, the security's going to be assholes, there's going to be no drugs, the beers are going to be $25. Outside of like one big party, like the Cactus Club only holds 100 people. Like,
right.
Like the Ritz maybe 250. Like, are people going like fucking? It's a little off the beaten path, but unfortunately, like our boutique's going to be gone by then. Like, where the fuck is everybody going to? Where are they going to fucking go?
Nowhere. They're going to have to stay in the hotels because there's not enough hotel rooms in Santa Clara or anywhere else. Like, they're going to have to. People are going to be staying in San Jose. They're going to be staying right in downtown. But when they walk out the front door, what's the experience, right? It's a chicken and egg problem that downtown and San Jose have had, and they just don't. They take 2 steps forward and 3 steps back, and we no matter what the mayor says and anyone else says about going big and trying to take on San Francisco, we just have this Mayberry RFD attitude here.
And not for nothing, like if you don't have an established like nightclubs, like big nightclubs like San Francisco does, they have the Midway, they have 1015, they have the End Up, they have all these established fucking nightclubs, like smaller places like the Stud that just reopened with a good reputation. Like the city doesn't have to do shit.
No,
the city is
get the
already
fuck out of the way.
Yeah, the city, like it just, I don't know, maybe talk to some of the club owners in South of Market and see if they need anything from you. But otherwise, fucking make sure people have make sure like when they're leaving if the Super Bowl's in San Francisco proper, make sure people have, you're handing out things telling people like, hey, here's the entertainment district. Here's how to get to the Castro. Here's how to get to the Mission. Here's how to get to South of Market. Like that's all you have to do.
Speaking of getting to this next clip, actually, it says it all, really. It's we're going to get the reactions from local business owners to this basically open streets festival, right? 10 miles of open streets, and business owners who are on the route, have what you might think is like the opposite take from what they should, right? Like they're afraid. They don't want to, they don't want the people coming. They want just, typical car traffic. They don't want thousands of people walking past or biking past their shop. And we're going to hear about it from NBC Bay Area.
A nice way to get out in the sunshine. Viva Calle returns this weekend to San Jose. On Sunday, the city will close several streets to cars so people can ride their bikes, scooters, or walk the roads. It's a great way to get to know San Jose better. However, it's drawing concerns from business owners who rely on the traffic. Here's NBC's Damian Trujillo.
Viva Calle alternates its routes for the different events. This time it's Willow Glen, the Rose Garden, and Japantown. And business owners say they have to be ready. 3 Viva Calle events per year draw more than 425,000 people. The city says it's where new friends are made. But for business owners, it may also be where revenue is lost.
Viva Calle is just an opportunity for us to get out of our cars, slow life down a little bit, walk, bike, ride your scooter, whatever your mode of transportation is, whether it's your feet or wheels. Just slow down and take in the sights of San Jose.
10 miles of San Jose streets will close for the Sunday event. The no parking signs and the road closed signs are ready, including signs warning that bus routes will be rerouted. You don't like it?
I don't like it.
Getnat Maliki was okay with us using his name, but asked us after our interview not to show his face. Getnat runs a market on Ray Street. One of the
I'm sorry, why does the liquor store guy doesn't? What the liquor store guy? You're wrong.
Let it roll.
For sure, this. I mean, we're gonna lose a lot of money. I mean, it's not a lot of money, but we lose a lot of customers the whole day.
It was the same concern when Alumrock Avenue was closed for Viva Calle. One bakery there told me they shut down for the day because it made no sense to open if the street was closed.
We, over the years have heard a lot of concerns from businesses about closing streets and what that means for their business on the day. And so the Viva Calle team has spent a lot of time working with local businesses to find ways to activate the business during the route.
Like Bibo's Pizza in Little Italy, the restaurant will be what's called a pit stop during Viva Calle. It's a city effort to cross-promote the business and the event.
The goal is to just drive new people to that business.
The city says surveys show Viva Calle generates about $2 million a year in spending. Mary's Market and others are worried those numbers won't stand up when the streets shut down. In San Jose, Damian Trujillo, NBC Bay Area News.
So I got to tell you something about a liquor store. It relies on foot traffic. That is the neighborhood liquor store. They're not people driving across town to go to Mary's Market. So what you're doing is you're putting a bunch more people on foot who are going to go in there and buy a beer and drink it illegally during Viva Calle, right? You're not supposed to be drinking out there, right?
Well, wait for the entertainment zones that we're putting in, that the basically drinking in public zones that the city has implemented.
But what I'm saying is that guy's going to do gangbusters that day.
Yes.
Especially all he asks, because you get murdered on water at events if you go to the booth. So he put out a little fucking thing that says $1 water bottle, $1 bottle of water.
Boom. Right.
People are going to go in there. They're going to buy water. They're going to buy beer. They're going to buy vodka. They're going to buy Snickers bars. They're going to buy fucking so much stuff from that liquor store.
Right. They're out with their kids. They'll get candy bars and snacks and chips and whatever. I don't understand this. And these are from some business owners where their street's been closed before. They've been through this. So it's not as though they haven't experienced it, but 400,000 people biking or walking down your street seems to me to be a bigger opportunity for revenue and for promoting your business. In
that shopping center they showed, right? They had a salon. I could see the salon closing for the day, right? Because you're not going to go get your hair did on a whim.
It's Sunday. Right. It's also it's Sunday too, so it's not as it's not as though it's the heaviest traffic day anyway for businesses. And there's a vape shop there; they're going to do well, right? I imagine the laundromat may not do as well, but people are going to find a way. And like you said, these businesses like a laundromat, even the salon, frankly, are local serving businesses. There actually is a zoning name for this or naming convention for these kind of businesses: neighborhood facing or neighborhood community commercial, right? It's neighborhood businesses where they expect most of their traffic is coming from the immediate community around the business, which is why these businesses get allowed in the first place and permitted in the first place, because they're not causing a lot of traffic. They're not drawing a lot of cars, right? That's a benefit when they're applying for a permit, is that they're not increasing traffic, they're increasing foot traffic, which leads to revenue and tax revenue and all the good things. So it just seems like completely back-asswards. And
I can't believe,
obviously, the city's not doing a good enough job with this maybe they're not doing a good job of explaining that to them, but it seems to me like common sense. Sorry for
the other one, that
callback.
bakery we covered it last year, or was it the year before? And I was like, that bakery looks good as fuck. All they got to do is put out something on the street, somewhere, one of the triangle things, right?
Yeah,
with pictures of some of their food, and be like, buy two get one free.
Right. And Mexico Bakery is a known commodity. If I was rolling at Viva Calle and the east side and Alumrock was closed, where they're located right near 101, I would actually plan ahead to go there and get a torta or a pan dulce. They have the legit food. I have no idea what they're talking about.
Right. You put out if you're them, you put out a sign that says a San Jose institution,
Yeah. I actually don't go there a lot because their parking is really limited and it's a pain in the ass to get into their lot by car. You actually have to make a U-turn and go around and cut through a sidewalk or some sort of back alley just to get to their parking lot. So I actually
if you're
don't
already
go there
illegally
as much.
day drunk on the street, you're gonna get a torta.
Correct. And I would absolutely go there if it was more convenient too. So, and this would make it more convenient. So it just seems like San Jose just having its head up its butt and thinking about things, backwards. And in this case, it's actually the city trying to do something good. But I also don't think they do a good enough job of like selling it and making, and working and identifying these kind of opportunities and taking advantage of them and helping people along. They don't do a good enough job of communicating to local businesses, to local residents about the benefits and the opportunities. And they just say, we're going to close the streets, and people freak out because they're just not used to it. It's something different.
During Pride, there's this liquor store that it's right by one of the stages, and there's always a line to it, and they always have somebody out there handing out just this little coupon that says, if you spend $10, we're going to give you $1 off. If you spend $10, we're going to give you $1 off. And like, I would imagine that place, I can't, the whole day, like the prices there are good too, and they have a good selection, but we end up going up the hill a little ways just not to stand in line. I mean, there's fucking 20 people in line the whole time.
Yeah. And like that liquor store,
it's that $1 off, but also it's that this business like reached out to you and gave you a thing, and now you're like, well, fuck, I could use a bottle of vodka now that you mentioned it. And this liquor store, this is the dumbest fucking thing in the world. He absolutely should have somebody out there just spend $10 and get $1 off. Everybody,
or like you said, a cooler of bottled water out there on the sidewalk, right here, $1 water. Oh, we got more snacks inside if you like this, right? Like just very simple stuff. Just make a simple investment. You're gonna make bank on that one day. You could actually probably make up differences in your budget just from that one day of business.
Right.
If
you do things like if you see one guy's there with 2 kids, he gives you $1. You give him and his kids a bottle of water. Because you're not there to sell the fucking bottle of water for $1.
You're selling the business. Yeah, you're selling the business, and you're trying to get more traffic. It's just like the guy selling the burgers for $1.99, right? He's not counting on making money from the $1.99 burger. He's making money from the fries and the sodas once you get in the door.
But the other thing San Jose would never do is make a liquor store a pit stop, which they should.
Right. Or they should just take any comers, right? Anyone who wants to step up and do it, right? But yeah, they probably more than likely that would be a frowned upon. But yeah, the Mexico Bakery can absolutely be a pit stop and should be if it was on their street. It's not on their street this time, but anyway,
like with all the it's really good that this is going through Japantown now, because it wasn't just that pizza joint or whatever.
It's a lot of
businesses in Japantown. I've just seen it. It's been like in the ether on my feeds. I'm seeing it from the local news that like a lot of businesses in Japantown, once a thriving place with a lot of restaurants, it seems to be having some problems it's the city.
It's a struggle. Yeah. And it's a struggle. And it's because it's mostly almost exclusively actually in J-Town, small businesses, local businesses, right, that don't have the kind of profit margins like Pete's Coffee or Jamba Juice or whatever, Taco Bell, to survive one bad month, right? One bad month and these businesses go out of business. So, but the city can and should do something about that. But all they have is like a nice small business commission that really just meets every now and then and talks about how great it'd be to do things, but it doesn't actually do anything. They provide like webinars. But the city can and should do more, and we just need to have an attitude of being a city as opposed to a town, and that's pretty much how we act.
Like the business owner there with like the city, the person that we saw talking about Viva Calle. I mean, she seemed like she knew what she was doing. Maybe she goes down there and talks to the guy, and she's like, "Hey, here's what some other businesses are doing." She's like, we don't allow alcohol, so I can't really technically encourage you to sell a lot of alcohol, but things being as they are, you might sell a lot of alcohol.
Yeah, absolutely. But sometimes it's the messenger, and I think they could do a lot more if they embrace sort of a they call it a promotore model in organizing, but it's really like enlisting other small business owners, in this case, to reach out to their fellow small business owners, or going to business associations and saying, hey, talk to your members about this. Don't make it be a city official or the mayor coming and saying, hey, you should do this, because there's so much distrust out there of government already. And that's probably why people distrust this event, because it's a government sponsored event. So take the government out of it and allow small business owners and residents to talk to each other and hype these things. That saves also you money and city staff time to do other more, not more important things, but other things, right? So it seems like everyone could handle this a lot better.
Not for nothing, since the parking lot's not in use. I mean, it's not expensive to get a couple speakers and hire a DJ to spin in the parking lot in front of your liquor store.
Sure,
and then like
absolutely.
it just says like this, you have a little banner about your liquor store like on front of it. So it's like people are associating you with the party that they're enjoying instead of like it just being a liquor store. Now you're providing like entertainment. You're part of I don't know. If I had a business along that route, I'd be just not even asking permission and setting up right in front of the fucking business and daring them to shut me down, right?
Well, yeah, I was going to say like there probably are some minor permits you have to get to do something like that, but again, it's something where the city can facilitate and make it easy and or make it free, right? And so I think everyone's got their heads planted in the sand on this one, and except for the people who had the idea of doing it in the first place. I think it's a great idea. It's a great concept, and it's not original to San Jose or unique. It was started in Argentina, I think, this Open Streets kind of movement, and it's taken off worldwide. So we bit the idea from someone else. So it's a great idea. It's just not being implemented to the highest of its potential here in San Jose.
And if they did it proper downtown, who wouldn't say one negative thing about it would be the businesses on post.
Yeah, well, of course not. Because they're used to that's what they get.
Oh man,
San
55 South
Square,
Max and Splash would do a fucking killing.
Yeah, absolutely.
During that,
absolutely. Well, we'll lobby for that, and we'll see what happens. But
I'd go if it was on Post Street. Fuck yeah,
right. They do change the route around a lot, and it's been on SoFa. It's been through downtown. I don't know if it's. I mean, since Post is already shut down, it would kind of be like an adjacent street or a little hub. They do hubs, is what they do. They pick out spots and do hubs, and that could be a great hub. Anyway, we should move on. More to come.
Good thing we have a short one this week. A short docket. Yeah, for sure. Not short-winded. Never short-winded. Sometimes short docket.
Yes, definitely, very much so. Moving on back into the sports arena, we have two sports stories on the docket this week. What's become of this show? This is something you found, which I thought was just very interesting, and as a baseball fan, gets me a little aggro. But apparently, there's a minor league or sort of semi-pro team playing in Oakland now that the A's have left, and they're trying to make things fun for the fans by giving them more control over the game. And we're going to find out what's happening from Sarah Donchi and KPIX.
The Athletics may have left Oakland for good, as we all know, and many were upset about. But when they left, the Ballers showed up for Oakland. And even if they don't have the professional scale following that the A's did, they have had their successes. And they're trying some new things to keep their fans locked in. The Oakland Ballers started playing in the Pioneer League last year. And since then, they've made history by signing the first woman to play for the league. They've brought back the Battle of the Bay, facing off the San Jose Giants. They've hosted Too Short for a performance and a music video. And they've helped reunite a missing dog with its owner during a road series in Colorado. They've even had fans call the shots for them.
It doesn't really change the entertainment, or maybe it only slightly enhances the entertainment for the fans who are watching. But those fans who want to be leaned in and want to be more engaged, the diehard fans, the ones who are used to screaming at the television about a decision that a coach or manager made or a thing that happened, now those screams are heard, right? We're just giving them a voice.
Through the Bay Area-based app appropriately titled Fan Controlled, fans were able to vote on real-time decisions like the team's lineup and even things like pitch selection. And you didn't have to be at the game. People could use a QR code and do that from their couch. Now this weekend, the Ballers are getting even more high-tech. Artificial intelligence will make its professional sports debut in Oakland tomorrow. The Ballers are replacing their manager with an AI program to make the decisions that he usually does. Kevin Coe explains.
To say the least, the Oakland Ballers are having quite the season. The playoffs are next week, and with more than 70 wins already, the Ballers, well, they don't have to worry about anyone taking them out of their first place throne. So, for Fan Appreciation Night on Saturday, the Ballers are trying an in-game experiment that no professional sports team has ever tried before.
Raised in the East Bay, Oakland Ballers manager and 9-year MLB veteran Aaron Miles has part of his soul in the town's baseball team.
Close to the hometown and family, and grew up an Oakland A's fan and grew up coming to Oakland to watch A's baseball games, so it's full circle for me.
But growing up, Miles could have never expected that his full circle includes artificial intelligence. The Ballers will be the first professional sports team ever to have AI manage or coach a game, which also means Miles will be the first manager or head coach in professional sports history to be replaced by a computer model.
I'm looking forward to it, actually. AI may be a bench coach and it's coming soon. Every person out here in a job that knows AI may be coming for their job doesn't like this at all, you know what I mean? And part of me is, thinks that too, but, I think the AI could be a part, like I said, a tool.
That's the uncomfortable part of this conversation. More industries are implementing AI into its workplaces, replacing humans along the way, cutting costs for CEOs like Paul Friedman.
Aaron Miles' job is safe.
But Friedman isn't your typical CEO. The co-founder of the Ballers never embarked on this Pioneer League baseball journey to turn a profit.
Our whole ethos is bringing live humans together. And that's actually why we were the right people to be able to do this, fun juxtaposition. The benefit of being able to, of winning over 75% of your games, which is insane in baseball, is that you can have a little fun.
Friedman hopes this experiment could lead to more AI tools being used by coaches and managers like Miles. The Ballers manager will be in the dugout for Saturday's AI game.
It'll just say AI.
However, the starting lineup will have a much different signature, at least for one game.
We're going to fire the AI after day one. They have no feelings, so it's going to be an easy conversation.
Maybe I'll learn something from the AI, and hopefully the AIs learn from me, because we've done pretty good this year.
It's going to be crazy to see how that works out. The Ballers are hosting a block party starting at 2 at Raimondi Park. First pitch is tomorrow at 4:35. As Kevin mentioned.
So, I don't know if you're like, the Ballers is this whole thing like in Oakland. It looks like I have to go. It looks like a lot of fun. Like sometimes just randomly I'll run into people at the store or somewhere. Like there'll be 4 or 5 people like decked out in Ballers gear, and I'll just be like, "Hey man, where did you guys just come from the game?" And they're like, "Oh, we had so much fun." Like they're always like so like positive about it. And
that's great to hear.
I guess that's when your team just wins every fucking game. I guess that, but they never actually mention like the game so much, as they're always talking about how like the people there are all really nice, and it like brings everybody together, and it's like an affordable thing to go out and do, and like it's like a whole thing here. It's pretty cool. I'm like pretty proud of the city of Oakland. There's like, I never hear anything about any fights or any bullshit there like you hear about at other games. Like I gotta go. I'm gonna see if they're gonna let me fucking DJ at one of their games. They seem pretty forward thinking. So
right, especially if you're using AI to pick the next track. But
nope.
There are definitely some winners in this story, which is pretty rare in the docket, but in this portion of Down Ballot. But yeah, the winners are the fans, and that's great to hear all those good things. In fact, minor league baseball, they survey their fans, and the majority of people that go to minor league baseball games can't remember the score of the game they went to. They just They go for the experience, right? In minor league baseball, semi-pro ball, it has all those opportunities. It's family friendly. Like in San Jose, you got the beer batter at the San Jose Giants, right? So you get the barbecue. So there's all sorts of things you're doing around the game, right? And like the guy said, their whole job is, it's not to win baseball games, it's to bring human beings together. So in that regard, they're doing great. I have some serious qualms as a fan with letting everyone in the stands and people at home decide the lineup or even pitch selection. That's going to be a real experience, and I'm glad to see that. I'm glad to see that the human manager is not so put off by it, because it's going to be a one night thing, right? But who knows? But this is something that fans, like some fans at least, like dream about, right? We always talk about, they made such a bad call, I could have done so much better. So in a way, we're going to find out if the fans could do much better, but at the same time, it's like, I don't like opening this Pandora's box, because at the end of the day, I know a thing or two about baseball. I feel like I could, maybe I could do a decent job as a manager, but you know what? I don't live it and breathe it every day, and I don't know shit about what goes on behind the scenes and all, the clubhouse and that kind of thing. So I would never in a million years think that I could do a better job or put myself in that situation. So I'm really curious to see what happens when you've got thousands of fans jumping in on this. But again, it's exactly like you said. It's an experience. It's not, and sports generally professional sports should be more of an entertainment experience and thought of that way anyway. And yeah, it doesn't help. It doesn't hurt that you've win 75% of your games.
They stomped everybody in their league, and two, the stakes are pretty low. I don't even think if they wouldn't have been winning, I don't think it would have mattered. Like, I don't think people are going there. Like, like when a big professional team that hasn't won for a while starts winning, and the stands fill up because they're winning now. I don't think anybody there gives a fuck if the Oakland Ballers win. I swear to you. I think that they're there because it's cool. It's like a cool, like, Oakland thing to do.
Sure. Yeah, that's really what it's about, right? They lost the Warriors, they lost the Athletics, they're getting dumped on by Trump. Everyone's just taking a dump on Oakland, and it's so great. It is really great to see something positive, and the Roots are another one, the soccer team that's going to be playing at the Coliseum. Another good example, I think. And I think there's just a lot of, like, I just heard it from you, right? Like, and you're not an Oakland native by any means, you're an East Bayer, but you've got a lot of pride in your city, and I think that's
I'm not yet. I just got to the point where I'm allowed to call it the town and not everybody give me a side eye. We'll call it the San Jose side eye that you get sometimes here. But
is this it, right?
But yeah, I mean, like I said, and I think that the AI thing is a gimmick, and the letting the fans do the thing on the app is just another way to, like, get more people feeling like they're more involved in this thing, because they're saying, oh, we're doing this to get people together, but this is a business. Somebody's making money. You got to make money to pay the people that run the business, right? So
right.
It's not like the CEO is just doing this out of the goodness of their heart. They're seeing a way in which they can make money on this, or they wouldn't be doing it.
I mean, everyone's talking AI, so let's just embrace it, right? And yeah, if they don't have to pay the person, that's even better, right? So, well, hey, good on them. We'll see what happens. I'm anxious to see what the results of that game, what happened.
We should do a big like San Jose like meetup, like all the San Jose folks. You guys bring the Bad Baby out and get the boys from the camp. Maybe Nahal, maybe her kids are old enough now to go out there.
There we go.
Chipping everybody out there and go to a Ballers game. It's cheap. It's fun.
Looks fun to me, man. We can definitely do. We absolutely can do that, and we'll hit San Jose Giants game later while we're at it. They did a little Battle of the Bay. They played each other at some point, so they brought that back too, which is kind of fun. Anyway, well, that's winners and losers for this week, ladies and germs. Thank you for being patient with us as we waded through it. But now it's on to the sticky, icky, dirty portion of the show where we have to get our shit together, or someone has to get their shit together. And who is it this week, producer Dave?
Bart.
That's usual. That's pretty typical. Let's find out what happened.
Lots of follow-up questions today regarding the system-wide outage that shut down BART service Friday, and how can it be prevented from happening again. ABC 7 News reporter Leslie Brinkley is following the story and joins us live from the Walnut Creek BART station with the very latest. Leslie.
Well, today's commute on BART, as smooth as can be, a far cry from Friday's meltdown that really shook up passengers.
Have I lost faith in BART? No. It's concerning, though.
On Friday morning at 3:15 a.m., a technology upgrade triggered a cascading failure across the whole BART system, shutting it down across the entire Bay Area for the morning commute, impacting riders on their way to work, to classes, to flights. Train service wasn't fully restored until 11:45 a.m. It's the second full system outage in 4 months caused by a technology issue. ABC 7 News reached out to BART's general manager, who was out of town last week. The response? The GM is not available for interviews. BART went on to say, we don't plan on doing interviews until Thursday, when we will give an update to the board. But there was no shortage of board members who wanted to chime in.
As a BART director, on behalf of BART, I definitely want to apologize to all of our customers.
It's a real reminder of how many people rely on BART to get around and how disruptive it can be to people's lives.
It's just unacceptable. It's inexcusable to have a shutdown at this magnitude.
Board members vowed to investigate the failure in response to riders' questions.
Yeah, I do have a lot of questions. Like, what caused this to happen? Whose fault was it?
Over the weekend, BART issued a statement saying network engineers were performing a cutover to a new network switch at the Montgomery station.
Are we going to do the forensic analysis that we need to do to find out what went wrong? Is it the equipment? Is it the switch that got replaced? Or is it the activation of the system with the new equipment?
It only takes one incident and one time of being let down when you're going to something important like a doctor's appointment for people to feel like we can't rely on the system.
It makes me very concerned about the future upgrades.
There's a lot on the table for BART right now. They're still trying to build ridership back up after the pandemic. They're looking for a loan from the state. They might have a ballot measure to be voted on. So all of these factor in. There's going to be a lot of heat, a lot of discussion at this Thursday board meeting.
So there's a couple things going on here. I don't know enough about it. I did look into it, but there's some of these computers are running on like Windows 95. I mean, there's a lot of old stuff in there, and like it's a lot of money. But I mean, if just replacing like a network switch and then rebooting your system takes the whole BART system down. I know there's not a lot of money out there, and there's not a lot of will, but they need to replace the software stack. It's fucked up. It is fucked up. They're probably paying people some ungodly amount of money to maintain and keep secure these old like Windows 98 fucking computers. Like just fucking, I know it's going to be real hard and real expensive. Just replace it all with fucking Linux. My God, just replace it all with fucking Linux.
Is there some sort of server farm out in Livermore that runs all of this stuff, right? With some lonely engineer, like
I imagine it's distributed as it should be, right? This would be something you would want the network fairly distributed,
right? And yet this upgrading the system at this one stop apparently triggered a shutdown of the whole system, right? Like as if a virus got implanted through the changeover. And also, why are you doing changeovers in the middle of morning rush hour? Like, if you're doing a system switch or a change, shouldn't that be happening in the middle of the night or in the middle of the like
hours? after you shut down on Friday night,
right? Right. Then get it done and test it and make sure, shit went down. Well, at least it's not in the middle of the Monday freaking rush hour, right? Like it just boggles my mind, the incompetence here. And you're right. It is. We have a lot of shit in the Bay Area, especially running on legacy systems, right? Our county assessor here, and we have an assessor race that we'll cover here on Downballot soon in the county, a special election to replace the old assessor who was very old and had us running on a system that was literally from the 20th century to do their work, and wasn't allowing for telecommuting or telework, or really wasn't embracing modern technology. And you're right. Like it costs a lot now. And if you'd been upgrading the system over the years, right, it would cost less to maintain. So you're going to have to invest a lot, but you just have to do it at this point, because there's no way anyone's going to tolerate, two complete system shutdowns in 4 months. That should never happen. You don't hear about this in any other transit service around the country, any other rail service. It seems like only BART has this kind of, like other services, like they smell, right, or the trains are old or whatever, but they run on time and it doesn't break down. The entire system doesn't break down, right? Maybe a train goes haywire or one station, but yeah, you don't see this kind of malfeasance. So something's got to be done. They got to get their shit together. These elected board members probably don't have a lot of power, but at least it's good that they're trying to hold some feet to the fire, because we already lack faith, I think, in the Bay Area in public transit. Not faith, but just sort of investment, not just money, but people, right? And ridership. The reason ridership sucks is because transit doesn't get you where you want to go when you need to get there, and and it's not that expensive. But so really, it's the efficiency and the effectiveness of the system, and that's just not there right now. And it's almost across the board. I think Caltrain is the only service that's fee recovery completely, and even Caltrain has its issues.
And that shit's fucking way overpriced. It's the most expensive public transit per mile in the nation.
Correct. It's expensive as shit, right? So that's how they make their money back. Like they don't have ridership that's off the charts compared to BART, but they make their money from all those Peninsula fuckers and Silicon Valley fuckers who can afford to spend $12 to go from Palo Alto to Menlo Park. So on their ride home. So yeah, we need the whole system needs to get shit together.
Not for nothing. The trains are like, they're interoperable. Like I know they're all electric now, but you could just put electric lines over any track and run those fucking trains on it. And BART is like this lock-in system where the tracks are different. I'd be willing to bet the computer system was some fucking bespoke bullshit that they got sold by somebody who was going to vendor lock in them. But then they ran into a problem when the vendor, because their shit was bullshit, or basically like as soon as people modernized or whatever, now that vendor isn't there, and they're probably paying a ton of cash for some small group of people or some consulting firm who still knows how to use this legacy system to like maintain it for them.
Sure. 100%, and just dumping money down a hole when you could have been upgrading the system and moving forward. But yeah, I think you're right. You pointed out a really good point, or brought up a really good point in that the trend, like it goes down to fundamentals, right, of the system. The trains, like the grade or the gauge of the tracks and the trains themselves are unique to the BART system. Like no other system runs on this kind of model as far as just the physical trains themselves and the tracks.
The idea was, by the way, if you remember, the idea was so the trains could be going incredibly fast because the tracks were wider.
Yeah, they're incredibly loud is what they are.
Well, but then they found out that going that fast scared the shit out of everybody, which because the trains like made noise, right? And so it felt like kind of weird. And so they ended up going they ended up not even going, like those BART trains, they can go pretty fast.
Yeah, they're wider. It's a wider gauge, so it'll be more stable, right, at higher speeds, and that's the idea. But you're right, and all it does is when one of those things turns, every time you hit a turn, it makes that wild screeching sound, right? That we all know, and we come to accept that's BART, right? We got our headphones on generally, but yeah, that also is something. It's like you don't see that, like Paris, the metro there. It's not quiet, but it's certainly not that loud, and it's just very, very steady, nice, smooth ride with not a lot of noise, and you can actually do some like sightseeing from the train too. So, not to say that BART should be more like the metro in Paris, but we got to do better. We got to get our shit together with transit in the Bay Area, or no one's ever going to get out of their fucking car, and we're going to be stuck in the same mess for forever.
There's nothing to be done about the tracks, but slowly, even if there's because computers are just so fast now, even if you have to have a translation layer so that it can talk to legacy systems. But even if you're doing it piecemeal, you got to do something about this. You got to do something about all these legacy systems, because as soon as you get it all switched over to like open source and like common hardware from like Supermicro and Dell, where it's all just running fucking Ubuntu or whatever, or Debian or like a Red Hat even. Now you need to replace equipment. You just buy a new one and put it in there and fucking clone the system off the old one, and you're fucking 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and now you've replaced this fucking piece of equipment. And like they may not have all the software they need, but you can hire developers at $120,000-$130,000 a year, or hire contractors out to write the software that you fucking need to run your system, and then they'll fucking stay on to maintain it. But then you maybe stipulate that it's open source, so if they don't stay on to maintain it, you can hire someone else to maintain. Like, come on, this is. I know it's like a long project, but we've been hearing about this stuff with BART since I was
alive.
Young. Yeah, since I was young.
I mean, it sounds like they should hire you, producer Dave, especially because everything you just said, I have no idea what you're talking about. So I think you obviously know more than a lot of us already. So I think they should hire you to do this shit and put BART on Linux and just be done with it, and open source software. But
I would wager to you that there are many, many, many transit systems across the globe that the computers are all running Linux. They probably switched over from Unix to Linux.
I wouldn't doubt it. And the problem with legacy systems is typically that there's some entrenched folks that are getting paid an inordinate amount of money to, like you said, to be the master of this thing, and they're not going to want to relinquish it, right? And they'll take it out of their cold dead hands because they have no other options. Like, they're not going to pivot to the next system because they don't know how to run the other system. All they know is how to run this system. It was their idea, so if they change it, it's like because they were wrong in some way, not because they need to evolve. So that is another big problem with legacy systems. Is usually legacy people that are responsible for keeping it that way. Like the system itself, you can't blame the system, right? You can't blame the computer itself. You can absolutely blame the people that keep these systems in place, right? But all the people try to do is blame the system, and it's like, no, you can get a new system. Like, it's you have the choice. The computer cannot choose to, or maybe it can eventually like shut itself down, and maybe that's what's going on here. It's like, fuck it, I'm old. I'm too old for this shit. I'm shutting down. Fuck you guys. I mean, I'm saying, right?
I'm thinking it's something like they installed like a network switch in it. There's some legacy protocol or something that the network switch no longer supports because of how old it is, or something like that.
Sure. I mean, I've just simple things, right? Like for some of the jobs I've had in organizations I've worked for, particularly public agencies, right? I've did an update, or I accepted an update of something on the website back end, some minor thing, right? It was supposed to be, or I needed to create a page, or I changed a letter, and suddenly the whole site crashed, right? Because it was just some old relic system that I was not equipped to manage, because I couldn't anticipate what the problems would be. But there's some guy in IT. They're like, hey, well, I broke the website. Who do I call? Call Craig. Who's Craig, right? And he'll figure it out. That was always the answer. And it's like, that seems to be what's happening here. And I think you're right. So maybe they should hire you. Maybe you should put a bid in to let them know you're available.
I don't know how much such a thing would cost, but sure.
Well, it honestly, you'd probably be making bank compared to, what we're making on this network. Oh, yeah. Regardless of even if they're willing to pay you like half of what they're paying for the system they have now, I guarantee you it'd be a good chunk of money. So
anyway, we're getting
long in the tooth.
We're not lightning round status yet, but that's because we have a short docket. But I like this. They want to split California. This one, it looks like they're actually going to get a red state out of it. Unlike the one time they wanted to split it into 5 and they ended up with 3 blue states and 2 red states. Oopsie poopsie.
Right. Yeah. So in response to, we'll hear about the redistricting plan in a second, but in response to the Democrats' redistricting plan, the Republicans said, well, fuck it. We'll just split the state in 2 and we'll create a red state and a blue state. And we'll just go to the red state and you guys can have the blue state. And we'll see what that looks like in this next clip from NBC.
It's a proposal coming from the Republican minority leader of the California Assembly. He says with the governor looking to redistrict to create an advantage for Democrats, it is time to split up the state in the name of partisan difference. NBC Bearer's Robert Honda joins us from San Jose. And Robert, a familiar call for sure.
This is not the first time the idea of splitting up California has come up. I've been told it's been proposed more than 200 times over the years, but this one does have some different elements. Divide California into 2 states. That's the basis for a new bill from Assembly Minority Leader Jamie Gallagher. The Republican leader says it's his party's response to the governor's plan to redraw congressional districts to favor Democrats. Essentially, the assemblyman from the Sacramento Valley wants to divide California into one coastal state and another made up mainly of the Central Valley and mountain regions. Basically, urban areas, which tend to be more liberal, and rural communities that tend to lean conservative. Gallagher says right now, rural communities have no voice.
So we have a legislature right now, those politicians that are in power, they don't care about those people. And they don't care because they don't have to. The structure is set up that they'll get elected anyway, and they'll have the power.
South Bay Assemblyman Rosh Kalra scoffed at the proposal.
I don't see this going anywhere. I think he knows that, but he's going to try to get his 15 minutes so that he can keep himself in the limelight until his dreams of being a Congress member are completely dashed by the California voters.
Political analyst Larry Gersten agrees, saying it's very unlikely this proposal will go any further than the 220 other attempts, since both the state assembly and Senate would have to approve by a 2/3 majority, and then Congress must approve it. And the result might not end up the way Republicans want it to.
Once you divide California into 2 or 3 or whatever parts, that changes the political dynamic nationally. And Congress, especially the conservative side, whatever gain they might make, I think is more likely to say no because of the possibilities of the other side having more representation in the Senate.
The governor's office is also not taking the idea very seriously. In a statement, they called it a political stunt that's not going anywhere. In San Jose, Robert Honda, NBC Bay Area News.
Also, like, they're like, oh, we can get rid of all the liberals in all the cities and stuff. And it's like, well, I don't know, man. I mean, you have all the agriculture. I don't know. It just like, this is stupid. This is dumb as fuck. Also, a couple population centers in there. Whoops. Would that be fucked up if they had like a slim Democratic majority anyway?
Sure.
Because all the Democrats got pissed and went out and voted.
Yeah, between Sac and Fresno, right, and Bakersfield and some of those more urban inner areas. Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of voters there to overcome the state of Jefferson for sure. So I think that they're, if it was going to go anywhere, and I don't think it will, just like the 6-state solution or the 2-state solution that you see with NorCal and SoCal cut apart. I don't think it's going anywhere, and because they run it. It's like it's a catch-22, right? Like they can bitch and moan all they want, but at the end of the day, they have to get this passed by a legislature that's elected now, right? With the current situation now, and the Democrats have a super majority, so they're not going to be, they're not going to be relinquishing that anytime soon. So yeah, that's why it's not going to go anywhere at the end of the day. But it is just funny to see that continuously, like 220 times, you can't really scoff at that. Like, there is something there, right? That this state is very, just like America, California is very much like the United States in that it is very diverse. There's a lot, you've got every kind of region you can imagine, right? Every kind of economy you can imagine, every kind of town, city, demographic, right? So it's got to be, it is very difficult to get to consensus and to govern a state like this, but that's the name of the game, right? Is finding consensus. So we could divide it and try to create all these different spaces where those folks can get, the representation they think they deserve, or we could figure out how to, work better together. But at the end, for right now, this is the political reality. Ash is right. Republicans just trying to get some publicity, get a little bit of fame to run for other office, and who knows, maybe that guy will get trounced, or maybe he'll win. But this isn't going anywhere, but I think it's worth considering how we govern ourselves, because this comes up so often, right? And because it's such a recurring issue. I've even said it a few times when I just got frustrated with Southern Californians, right? Like, fuck you guys. Anything south of San Luis Obispo is out of my state, right? And then you'll have to buy, we send all the, Trump's big, thing about, send the water down. We do send the water down from NorCal in the, in the aqueduct, right?
And the weed.
And the weed, right? So we could tax the living fuck out of those things, right? And make some serious revenue if we're worried about, where we're going to get our revenue in NorCal if we don't have Hollywood or the Central Valley. So there's lots of opportunity there if we want to talk about it. But I still think at the end of the day, we need to figure out how to govern. I would rather see California secede from America before I'd like to see California divided, frankly.
Yeah. I don't know. It just seems like, we watch a lot of local government meetings in California and the places where there's a lot of conservatives. Like as you would say, a lot of times it's like silly season. Like in Shasta, for whatever reason, they want to they have a perfectly fine like election center, right? Because it's not like everybody goes and votes at one place. The election center is like the administrative part of it, right? But they got this guy that's like connected with Mike Lindell that wants to repurpose a Joann Fabrics and like have wireless cameras everywhere hooked up to OBS so that you could see what's on the fucking ballots.
Oh man. Yeah. So
I was making memes about the fucking Joann Fabrics with 122 gigawatts of electricity and fiber connection.
1.21 gigawatts. And part of me would love to see something like this succeed, right? So we'd actually see what the result would be, right? And how these states would govern them. How would the state of Jefferson govern itself? That would be the greatest shit show. We could start a whole new podcast network, producer Dave, about that and just do that exclusively. Just cover that, because it would be that big of a shit show. I guarantee it. If they had control over a whole economy in a state, oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah. It would be wonderful.
I don't know. I feel like I don't know. The people in Shasta are probably real glad about it. I don't know. It's really dumb. It's really dumb. But at least they made what appeared to be a red state this time, so that's good.
Right. And we'll see what happens. But moving on down ballot before we get to our closing coda. So as we talked about a couple weeks ago, the state legislature was on the verge of approving a ballot measure that would redistrict California in response to what is actually now happening. Texas has voted to do their redistricting, and Florida is talking about it as well. So it's happening there. It's happening here in California. And the political gamesmanship and campaigns have already begun. And I'll be honest with you, producer Dave, I'm on the fence about this measure to begin with, but we're going to find out more about what sides are being taken and the ads that are starting to fly from Fox KTVU.
Well, none of this. Congress members head back to Capitol Hill tomorrow morning following its summer recess. Democratic leaders in both the House and Senate have already planned several meetings with their party members to look ahead to next year's midterms. President Trump won't be on the ballot in November of 2026, but Democratic Party leaders plan to make his return to the White House the main focus of their midterm strategy. They will tell voters President Trump and his Republican supporters are a threat to American democracy.
Stop with the navel gazing. We are facing an authoritarian in the White House right now, a fascist regime in this country. Let's get off our and actually get in this fight.
However, this call to action comes amid growing division among Democratic Party leaders. Many are calling for their candidates to move politically from left to the center in an effort to attract more moderate voters next year. Here in California, millions of dollars worth of TV ads will begin airing tomorrow from both supporters and opponents of the special election ballot measure tied to California's redistricting battle. Voters will go to the polls November 4th to decide the fate of Proposition 50. Governor Newsom is the main force behind the ballot measure that asks voters to temporarily redraw congressional districts in his effort to send more California Democrats to Congress. The governor says the goal is to counter President Trump's political agenda for the Republican Party in next year's midterms.
We maintain the Independent Redistricting Commission, except for a temporary period, just for congressional seats to respond to this unprecedented assault by Donald Trump to try to rig the next election.
Democratic
I don't know why he was laughing there.
Opponents of the redistricting plan have already booked millions of dollars worth of TV airtime. And the congressional redistricting battle that began in Texas and California has now expanded to several other states. Missouri is the latest deep red state to step into the political battle. The Republican governor is calling for a special session of the state legislature this week to redraw the state's congressional district to give the GOP an edge in next year's midterms.
Oh, they're if New York and Massachusetts and fucking Illinois do this is fucking, there's like way more to be gained from the states with big populations doing this than there are from the states with the smaller populations. And like Texas has a big population, but also when you looked at the Texas one, a couple of them look pretty slim. And if they piss people off in Texas by doing this, if they piss off basically, if it drives just a little more Democratic turnout and it pisses off the fucking like moderates and independents to the point where they're just going to go vote for the Democrat because they're fucking pissed off about this bullshit, then the whole thing could backfire on Texas. I don't see it. Like California, the margin is so big here that there's plenty of fucking wiggle room up in there. But fuck, man, what a dumb fucking thing.
You're playing with fire either way, but I think you're definitely playing with fire if you're the red states and you're trying to rig the system, because you're right. Like at the end of the day, there are plenty more of us. There's plenty more blue people, if you will, like not Democrats, but people who vote Democratic or vote that way, than there are the other side in the country. Period.
I mean,
right,
you could see if you wanted to get real cute with it, you could slice up L.A. County and fucking put some people from L.A. County in every district, right?
Yeah, that's what they're doing, and that's really what they're doing, right? That's how they're trying to do it. To you know, it is gaming the system, but that seems to be the name of the game right now. And there's part of me that, you know, Gavin laughed there because I think, you know, it was just an exasperated moment trying to explain. Someone asked a question about why do this, and maybe it was a Democrat saying, I don't like what you're doing. And his laugh was sort of, it's his retort to, well, guys, like this is what we're dealing with right now, right? Everything you talked about in 2.5 hours on Sunday night, producer Dave, that's what we're dealing with right now. So how do you deal with crazy? You fight crazy with crazy, right? You fight fire with fire. That's Gavin and a lot of Democrats' attitude. And I have to admit, you know, I don't like the notion that we have to do this, and that we need to, you know, subjugate our independent democratic values, democratic with a small d values, to do this. But at the same time, I also understand that we are in a battle for the soul of our country when it comes down to it, right? And it's very real, and there are people getting very, very hurt and traumatized and ruined. Lives are being ruined. You know, states, cities are being ruined by this administration and the MAGA movement in general. But so something needs to be done. We need to cut the head off. But this is just window dressing to me, right? This is just it's artificially changing the playing field. We're not addressing the fundamental problem in that Donald Trump won the popular vote in this last election, right? What are we going to do about that? The fact that this you know, crazy lunatic convicted criminal fascist won a majority of the vote, right? What are we doing about that? This is not going to solve that, right? This is not going to create one more voter who flips to voting sensibly, right? It's just going to piss more people off and create more polarization and just perpetuate the problem, as I see it. in that we have a nation divided because we're not doing enough to listen to each other and to try to build more consensus and to educate people, frankly, that fascism is not the way, and to build trust in government. And this is not going to build trust in government. It's going to build more distrust. And I'm already seeing it. My neighbor has a no on 50 sign already, right? Like, and even I'm thinking, like, do I want to vote for this, right? So that it's still a long road, I think, for this measure to be successful. And maybe that's why Gavin's exasperated, because he sees it as common sense. And there's still folks like me out there who are like, I don't like the slippery slope that this creates. Sure, it's temporary and it's only congressional districts, and you can do all the caveats you want, but you're still going back on the will of the voters. You were making a partisan response to an independent, a commission that was established, and you're just playing the same game that they're playing. And I wouldn't jump off the Brooklyn Bridge if a bunch of people did, but I also understand where they're. I understand where they're coming from. So I'm on the fence officially about this measure. I don't know how I'm going to vote.
I haven't thought about it much. So, and you had mentioned Donald Trump winning the popular vote. That's because the Democrats lost the popular vote.
Yeah, and what are we doing about that? Yeah, we're not doing anything. This isn't helping that either, right?
And I have my problems with Kamala Harris, but this shit wasn't her fault, dude. She had like 100 fucking days to run for president.
Yeah. Not at all. There are fundamental system, just like there are systemic problems behind homelessness and public safety that don't have anything, that are not going to be solved by these emergency crisis measures and slapping a Band-Aid on it and building a bunch of shelters, or in the terms of public safety, like hiring more police, right? And just putting more police on patrol. That's going to solve it. No, we have fundamental problems in this country that we are not addressing because we're just blaming everyone else, or we're trying to take the easy way out. And I'm personally just tired of taking the easy way out. Like it's supposed to be hard. It's supposed to be painful because that's what you get with the contract and the covenant that we have here in this country. If we want democracy, small d, if we want to be a big tent, if we want to have the 50 states, right, and all try to work together, then we need to fundamentally change the way we do our politics, our elections, our community engagement, all of it. And it's not going to be solved this way. This might be a temporary solution. We might get rid of Donald Trump, right? But who comes next, right? Who comes next?
Yep. And, if people are interested in national politics, we do a version of that, I suppose, on Sunday nights. You should check that out.
Please
podcast.
Please tune in to Used to Be a Spy for the next episode. Please download it. Episode 6, I believe I will be on. So, and download all the episodes. It's a wonderful show. We
are to the end here. I don't think I've heard of John Burton.
Oh, nice. Well, this will be educational then. John Burton is a longtime Politico from San Francisco, from the Burton Machine, it was called at one point. He passed away recently. I actually thought he was already passed away, so this came as a shock to me. But I actually got to meet Mr. Burton at one point. He's just a really interesting cat, but we're going to learn more about him from Willie Brown and other people remembering him here in this clip.
If you think about the world of civil rights, if you think about gay and lesbian rights, 1969, when I introduced the bill, John Burton was the first person to stand up and co-sponsor that particular bill.
Former San Francisco Mayor Willie Brown is referring to his longtime friend and longtime politician John Burton, who died at the age of 92 on Sunday. Burton prided himself on being a liberal and is credited with the massive success of the Democratic Party in California.
From 1951 till his death, when we were pals, buddies, and literally brothers, period. I always found John Burton to be more informed and in many cases more opinionated than any other politician that I ever met.
It was always fun and always sometimes shocking to see him work a bill. And he had this ability to make governors shiver in their shoes because he was so tough and so strong. And if he wanted to get something accomplished, if he wanted a bill to get through, it got through.
Former U.S. Representative Jackie Spears says Burton was a great supporter of a lot of her legislation, but he wasn't afraid of going against the grain.
He used the F word more than any person I have ever seen. And you wanted to duck if he was in one of those moods. But he could also be the most compassionate leader.
You could sum up John Burton in a lot of ways, but one might be John Burton, no BS. That's the way the guy was. He was gruff, he was rough, but he got things done, and he had a good heart behind him when he did it.
ABC 7 News insider Phil Matier, along with Spear and Brown, all brought up Burton's recent work in making a foundation for foster youth who aged out of the system at 18. That, just the most recent in a long legacy of accomplishments and policies to help the poor, the working, and those he felt were unfairly targeted.
Oh, well, that's, 92. He lived a long life, and apparently he got to do what he loved for a living, like his whole fucking life, apparently. So that's good, right?
Yeah, 100%. I just wanted to put this on here as a remembrance. He was a really great man and did a lot of good. And his legacy is his foundation, which they mentioned at the end, that supports foster youth. It's something that the Good Wife is a very big proponent of. And he's done so much good stuff for them. And he was also chair of the Democratic Party when I first got engaged, or got re-engaged, I should say, in the state party some 15, 16 years ago. He was the incoming chair, and he didn't take any prisoners, and he really did. I think set the groundwork for what we have now in California, which is like a Democratic supermajority, because he invested in the right places. He invested in a 50 county strategy, or 58 county strategy, and he didn't take any shit. Right, and he wasn't about to like let one loud voice in the room overcome like the will of the room. And yeah, he did drop a shit ton of F-bombs. I loved him for it, and he was really fun guy. So hey, rest in peace, sir, and I hope we can hopefully live up to your legacy one day.
It's a good thing he was never a senator, because he would have died a senator, because that's what
he was a state senator. He was in the state legislature for a very long time.
I mean a U.S. senator, but yeah.
Right, but yeah, he never went to D.C. I don't know if he would have liked D.C. Frankly, he probably would have thought they were all assholes. So anyway, and they are. So and by the way, Willie Brown, that fit. Oh my God, if only I can wear a fit like that when I'm Willie Brown's age, like life will be good.
Yep, the man does always look. He's they would say a snappy dresser.
Correct. It slaps, as the kids say.
Yeah. All right. Well, you want to read the show out?
Sure, absolutely. Thank you, as always, for joining us, viewer and listener. We couldn't do this without you. We would not be the 69th best podcast in California without you. And thanks to the chat and everyone who joins us live. We love you so much. Please keep tuning in. We do this, as producer Dave said, sometimes occasionally every Tuesday night at 7:30 p.m. Pacific. We invite you to get that new COVID vaccine. Please, there's an outbreak, get the vaccine, wear a mask where it's appropriate, and especially if you've been exposed. But pants, as always, are totally optional. This has been another wonderful episode of Down Ballot. We're going to leave you with Audible Smoke, and we're going to see you next Tuesday. Peace out.
Time to get the party started. Pick up my phone just to check and see who's calling. Dress up real nice for the ladies at the bar, and I'm driving in my car just to get to where they are. Here at the local scene is where I plant my feet. It's where I smoke my cigarette and I hold my drink. I look at all my friends, they're all blazing green. Here at the front of the stage waiting for MTV. Where are those guys who's standing next to me with a pipe in his hand ready to blaze for me? About 5 minutes later we're all singing Queen. Now get the fuck up on stage, man, rock the scene, yeah. We do what we want, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. We do what we want, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. Enjoy that band. I turn and head back to the bar for a refill, man, because you know where we are. We're headed out to the car to smoke another one and another one. Now just when the magic starts kicking in, I hear we left playing, you know it's time to head in. Alright everybody, now it's time to grab a new drink, spark it if you got it, and then pass it to me. Yeah, we do what we want, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. We do what we want to do, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. Enjoy that band. Last up on the bill for the show tonight is Down and Dirty at 5, so we're headed outside to spark up another joint. Now who's got my lighter? Stoner E, of course. Shouldn't you be inside?
I'm all up in this bitch, being who I gotta be. I'm fucked up like the U.S. economy. The truth is that I don't think logically. Stoner E take you on a psychedelic odyssey. Now inside motherfuckers is rocking me, and outside shit we smoke a lot of broccoli. Rocky the roller, yo, that sexy girl be jocking me. Ain't too drunk to fuck, but I'll probably do it sloppily.
We do what we want to do, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. Enjoy the band, enjoy the band. Yeah. We do what we want to do, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Molly say that he like jamming, and he hope he like jamming too. Well, I gotta say, thank you, Bob, we do. Yes, I gotta say, thank you, Bob, we do. Well, Bob Marley said that he like jamming, and he hope he like jamming too. Well, I gotta say, thank you, Bob, we do. Yes, I gotta say, thank you, Bob, we do. Yeah,
we do what we want, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. We do what we want, and what we want to do, what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. Enjoy that band. We do what we want to do, what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. Enjoy that band. We do what we want, and what we want is to jam. So sit